What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers of Deconstruction here. I know it's been a minute in between content in general for the channel, but bringing you another BoDcast episode. This one isn't really going to be like a debate or a discussion on a particular topic. It's going to be a discussion on news. And maybe we can turn this into like a little fun type of thing. So I got my boy Jon here today.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah. So, what are we going to be talking about today, you ask? We are going to be talking about this Superman Fiasco. Recently, today is Monday, September 17th. Why do I put date in here so it can sound dated? Who knows? Just so you guys can have an idea of what's going on in the past couple of days. So, over the weekend, maybe Thursday or Friday or something like that, maybe, hell, it might have been early last week, news came out that Henry Cavill was no longer going to be playing Superman, which was really fucking interesting to me. But it wasn't surprising. But then we also got like reports later on that his agent said he was Superman still, but then WB put out some weird ass statement saying, no decision's been made regarding Superman, but we still have a very good relationship with Henry, which kind of sounds like they're beating around the bush about, yeah, we fired this nigga. I don't know, that's just how it sounds to me. But today what we're going to be doing, just so I can keep it a little bit more fun and hopefully not boring, and hopefully it won't be super, super long. But we're going to first discuss it a little bit, and then we're going to get into a little debate game, hopefully, about whether or not we'd recast Superman and recast Henry, and if so, who are we going to pick? So let's just go ahead and talk about all of this information that we've gotten. Jon, what do you think about everything that we've heard so far?
Well, I'm really hoping that, like his agent said, which I think his agent is actually The Rock's ex-wife. She said on some kind of release or something that the cape is still in the closet or something like that.
Yeah.
And I really hope it's true, because I actually really, really like Henry Cavill in the role of Superman. I'm a very, very big Superman fan. I can admit that I thought that the the movies that he's been as Superman are mediocre, good. Like, they're not great. They have the potential. Of course, him as Superman, I just think there's a lot of potential with him as Superman. Like,
Absolutely.
He could legit be the best Superman that we've gotten, because he's like, he's right age, right time, the technology's right. We really just need, a good story and a clearer vision, in my opinion. Just something different. Not to say that, everyone gets the mindset that if you didn't think something was like, amazing, that you thought it was garbage. I mean, I didn't think that the DCEU, or, the cinematic universe, or whatever it's called for DC, I don't think it's garbage, but I definitely know that there's potential. It could be way, way, way better.
Absolutely.
And he's vital to that.
Yeah.
Because I think that he was one of the first ones, like with the DC films, that he was really a nobody. And they kind of took the Marvel Studios route, where they started casting a lot of these unknowns. Mm-hmm. And, they kind of just end up looking like the person in the comic, and then they sort of become the person. So, like, you can't picture, anybody else as that person. And I think Superman's had a bunch of people, play him, but I don't think anyone's come as close as far as, like, having the physique, having the look. I mean, not to mention the dude's British, but he puts on a really good American accent. So that's my opinion. I really hope that it's just a rumor. I hope it was something to just draw up some, I don't know, maybe draw up some news or controversy. I wouldn't know why. The reasoning, the whole, like, Shazam, I think, is that what it was? Or, like, what? I just want to be clear before I give some misinformation. So why don't you?
Well, what I've been trying to stay on top of this just a tad bit better. I haven't really checked out a whole lot of news lately, just in general. So I saw this on social media. From later reports that I heard were that they had negotiated or were negotiating. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Shazam movie is probably mostly done. If they probably have reshoots scheduled at some point, but Shazam comes out in like March. They got plenty enough time to get something to do, add some extra shit to it. But from what I had seen later on was that they couldn't come to an agreement on a Superman cameo for Shazam. Now I don't know. I don't remember, because again, this is strictly going off headlines. I actually didn't read any other articles, so I don't know if that was the reason that they just said, okay, we can't come to an agreement. I'm not doing this. But because that would be really, really weird to do. Like, you can't come to an agreement on a cameo, so you just fire the person. That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There seems like there's just a lot of stuff that's kind of like not adding up. I mean, I know they had like the drama, whatever you want to call it, with the mustache thing with Mission Impossible and the Justice League, which that already kind of would put a salty, flavor in anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
So, just having another thing where they can't come to an agreement, it sucks for both parties, in my opinion.
I think another weird thing is that, like, one of my boys sent me the video, but that same day that all this shit came out, Henry Cavill posted a video to his Instagram. He didn't have a sad look on his face. It was more so like not confused either, but it was like,
It was at the one where he pulls out the Superman action figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he just shows it, and the caption is like, "Well, today was fun," and I'm like, "What the fuck does this mean?"
Yeah.
Like, is
That's
this
very cryptic,
right? Like, does this confirm that he's no longer Superman? Because I still haven't heard since last week, since all this shit happened. I still haven't heard any confirmation that he's not Superman or that he is Superman. So that's the weirdest thing about all of this shit. It's like,
there's no press release saying like, hey, we did kind of have a decision where we parted ways, but when that kind of went, out in the wild, we went ahead and decided to just be like, nah, we were kidding, or so we came together.
That's the most mysterious, I guess you could say, thing about this, is that there's no confirmation about any of it. So it's still like up in the air. But it would be really, really, petty if, like, them not being able to come to an agreement on a Shazam cameo, where it was like, this doesn't work. All right, we're just gonna have to part ways. Like,
I mean, I'm wondering, like, I guess, like, more adding that speculation is because, and I'm not familiar with whatever new project Henry Cavill signed on, but it's something that has to do with Netflix.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna bring that up. Like,
okay.
one thing that I did see was that it was from one of the reporters. Maybe it was from Jeff Snyder or somebody else. I remember seeing somebody say that because Henry Cavill recently signed on for Netflix's The Witcher series, based on the game, which is based on the book, I believe. I can't remember. But he just signed on to be the main character in that. And I'm pretty sure I remember somebody saying that this was like the whole like non-agreement was like a fallback thing. Like, well, look, if we don't know what we're gonna do, then I'm taking this other gig.
Yeah.
I could be misremembering. Don't quote me on it. But I've definitely seen something about The Witcher having something to do as either a fallback or like, well, if we can't do this, then, or if you just agree to go do that, then I mean, we can't work with you. I don't know which way it goes, but there's a lot of information. There's a lot of moving parts. I just want to know, is he Superman or not? Because just like you said, again, like Bruce knows, a lot of people know I'm not a big DC person. I grew up on Batman animated series, so I love Batman because that was my childhood. I I can watch Justice League, the animated series. I can watch Young Justice. Don't know a whole lot of shit about any of the characters. That shit is just good. But Henry Cavill, I wouldn't be upset if I were him if it turns out that, yeah, they parted ways and he's no longer Superman. Because when he signed on, you're right, he was essentially an unknown. Like, he had been in Immortals. I mean, Man of Steel
He'd done
came out.
some, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he'd
had
done
done
some
some,
stuff.
yeah, some side character work and stuff like that. I think that another show that he was on were the Tudors, you know. But I mean, yeah, So, but his main claim to fame has been Superman, and
Yeah.
then he was also, it's just a little fun fact that back in 2004 or 2005, I can't remember, but he auditioned for Superman
And the
in Bryan
Brandon.
Singer's version.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't
he's
there a
even been
video
like,
of him auditioning in Christopher Reeve's suit? Or
I
was that for
don't
Man
know.
of Steel?
I think that's for Man of Steel.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was a thing. There's a photo because they did like test reels, and I can't remember who it was with. I think it was just a test actor or something. But he's in like a plastic, like he's in the J.J. Abrams Superman suit, like when that was kind of getting done, or he's in like some kind. It's like an armored suit, but it's
Okay.
shiny and it's blue, and it's like him just like carrying
Is it the Nick
whoever,
Cage
I guess,
suit?
Lois. I don't think so. I don't think it is. I'll have to find it, and if we do, like, definitely on the YouTube video, post it. But I know I can find it. I've got it. I've seen it somewhere. But
Yeah.
I think one of the things is he was just too young because I think that was the other thing is when the Superman movie, like Superman Lives, or I don't know what the title was, but J.J. Abrams was the one steering the whole project,
Yeah.
and that was J.J.'s choice was Henry Cavill. So he kind of had the role. And then he didn't because then, J.J. Abrams fell through and then Bryan Singer had it. So he had to re-audition, I guess, for the role. And then it went to Brandon Routh or Ruth or however you want to spell his name. And then we got that version. And then we had to reboot with Man of Steel 6 years later. So, yeah that's just,
But if I was Henry Cavill, I wouldn't be upset because what I was getting to was to have signed on to star as Superman, right? And be this big player. Your movie is starting this cinematic universe they're trying to build to the Justice League movie. He's been they've shat on Henry Cavill. He's been relegated to a supporting character in every other movie he's been in, unfairly.
Yeah.
I like Henry Cavill as Superman. It's something about him. He hasn't gotten great material to work with because I don't care which way you put it. Man of Steel was not great. I like Man of Steel. Man of Steel is probably in my opinion, is one of the better DC films that they've released in this whole Justice League universe. But saying that, Man of Steel wasn't great, no, but it definitely was not bad enough to jump straight to throwing Batman in the next movie and having it be a Batman v Superman movie.
Well, I think that's also probably just because of, the rushed ideas and studio representatives and, trying to just play catch up with the Marvel, the Marvel mania that's been going on with Disney and Marvel and the cinematic universe. I think that's what kind of sucks is he's a good Superman actor. He's just kind of in the wrong time right now because right now everything is just really, really pro Marvel, and that universe is continuing to just grow and grow and grow, and they just can't get off their feet. And it's kind of crazy because like you were saying, like that reboot or the Man of Steel reboot was supposed to be the Iron Man for the DC cinematic universe. It was supposed to kick off everything, and honestly, I mean, you were talking about fandom, how you're not, the biggest DC fan. I mean, I am a huge, huge DC fan, like almost just as much as Marvel. Like when people ask me, like, well, what do you like more? It's like, man, that's like asking, who my favorite, kid is or something like that.
Right, that's a Sophie's
like
choice.
if I had kids, it's like, man, you asking me to pick one of my children or something if I had some. But I could definitely say that, they're two different companies, but I really do. I've always appreciated the DC comics and the DC characters just because they're more of the archetype gods, they're blueprints, for what Marvel's done. Now, Marvel took those blueprints and, made a lot more interesting characters and gave people a lot of relatable problems, which is why so many people relate to the Marvel characters, and they're
Yeah.
really, really popular. But because it's hard, for people to relate to someone who's all powerful like Superman.
Right.
But it's been done right, and that's what kind of sucks. It's not really his fault. He's just he's a good Superman actor, just caught in the wrong time.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, I can agree.
Yeah. I mean, it just sucks.
Yeah, that's why I think I really want better material for him, and I really wish he would have gotten better material because
dude.
Man of Steel again. I don't think Man of Steel was bad. Zack Snyder definitely made some decisions I wouldn't have if I were making that movie.
Yeah, me neither.
It wasn't. They really needed to do a sequel to Man of Steel before jumping off and trying to, set up the Justice League. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So if, that's the one thing. That's the one thing about all of this, and I've seen people say it on Twitter. They want Henry Cavill to go over to Marvel. If Marvel casts him now, the best choice that I've seen anybody say for Henry Cavill is Captain Britain, and it just makes too much fucking sense.
Yeah,
it makes too much fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be Superman, essentially.
Yeah,
or basically he'd be the British Captain America, but
with his accent, he'd get to be Superman with his accent.
Exactly, natural British accent. Let just let him have it. So I think jumping off of that, I think let's jump into the whole I guess kind of debate game that we can play. So if you're going to recast Superman, well, first, would you recast Superman? If so, who would you recast him with? And I guess we'll get into more details as we go back and forth. Like, hey, what type of movie would you do? Or would you go back and recast them? Or would you go back and change the films or anything like that? Would you recast them? And if so, who would you pick? And if not, why would you keep them?
Gotcha. So I'm glad you kind of opened it up because I thought the whole basis was just going to be like, well, who would you pick? Because honestly, dude, that's casting Superman is like probably the hardest thing as far as like superhero movies in Hollywood goes.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't have an answer for you, and I don't know like any small time actors or unknowns who would do good. So because he's had so much ties with Superman, honestly, if he started like casting and was set up to be in J.J. Abrams' Superman movie in 2004, like that's already 14 years that he's had connections to Superman. So I wouldn't recast. I would do what I need to do to keep him because I think he's a good actor, but I think he's fit for. He's like DC's version of a lot of these actors right now in Marvel movies where they're like
I can't
mildly
see else
unknown.
playing.
Yeah, they're mildly unknown, but it's like, man, you're never gonna see anybody like. I mean, just for example, Chadwick Boseman. I mean, he's played a lot of like prolific people. Like he was Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman is the historical figure actor.
Yeah, like he's played Jackie
Marshall,
Robinson. Yeah, he's played James Brown. Yeah, so it's like, but after all those movies, when he stepped in the role of T'Challa, it's just like, well, all right, man, that's pretty much it. Like you're done. You could be the Black Panther for the next 10 years and you're already set for life because of just your one Black Panther movie, but now you can do whatever you want, but nothing is I mean the same goes for Tom Hiddleston for Loki and Chris Hemsworth for Thor. Like those guys, they were just TV stars or theater guys, and now they're nobody else. Like I mean I'm just as a movie buff, I know that Tom Hiddleston's been in other movies, but they don't come close to his portrayal of Loki. I mean, it's sort of like the same thing of, you know, you can't picture Christopher Reeve without thinking of Superman.
Right.
So I think that Henry's got that, like, as far as this version goes, because everybody else that's casted in the DC universe, to me, they're already established, like, stars. Like, Jason Momoa was already popular from Game of Thrones and all these other things. And, you know, Ben Affleck, I mean, it's Ben Affleck. So, like, I dig the Ben Affleck Batman. I dig his version. It's cool. It's not the best to me, but no matter what, at the end of the day, it's always like when I watched the Justice League movie and Batman vs Superman, it was like, this is Ben Affleck playing Batman. This is not like, oh man, that's Bruce Wayne, that's Batman, like forever and ever, like no matter what.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I get what
so
you mean.
that's So I mean, I think that's the deal. I think you know, the whole DC universe. I think what people need to do sometimes is just take the L and just start over and just start over and honestly take whatever positivity and whatever things that people did like. You know, there's a lot of people that do support Henry Cavill staying in the role and want him to stay in the role, and then just kind of use those things to bring on a newer version. You know, I mean, take for example, and it can be done. You know, I think people who get that mindset of like, oh, well, if they're going to reboot the character, then or if they're going to get a new actor, we need to reboot like the whole thing, like get everybody. And it's like,
no, not really.
No, you don't have to, because Marvel's done it. You know, Marvel's done it with several of their side. Yeah, they haven't done it with their lead actor, but I mean, they replaced.
You know, Hulk. They did. I was gonna say.
Yeah, technically, yeah, you're right.
Edward Norton was a lead actor.
Yeah, and then and you know, even then, the Batman, you know, the Burton Batman movies, which I know people cringe at those and they're dated or whatnot, but like that had every other side character, like Alfred and Commissioner Gordon, like those are the same dudes in all 4 movies with 3 different Batman.
Yep.
So, you know, you can keep the good things that you know will stay there, and you can just change up the style and the format of the films.
Yeah.
As far as like what I would do, I would definitely try to bring back. I would bring J.J. Abrams into the picture.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think J.J. Abrams. That's a guy who right now he's 2 for 2 on taking franchises that were like in the dumps, and he flipped them and modernized them, but gave them a very faithful depiction, like in that universe. Like his version of, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Star Trek, but he made me a bigger fan when his Star Trek movie came out. Yeah. And then everybody was, you know, worried about his, you know, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and that's been the best Star Wars film out of this new Disney merger, like, so far. So it's like, man, he's taken 2 major huge franchises and he's made them into, like, he's brought them back to like prominence. And you know, his Superman ideas are somewhere around. And I mean, I've seen rumors. I haven't read the script fully. I know he was trying to work with Brainiac. And I think that's your obvious choice as far as like story goes, because we've gotten Zod twice now. We've gotten Lex in TV and movies and cartoons. You know, they even went ahead and just did Doomsday, you know, but I just think an intellectual villain that's also physically able, like when you have those two, as far as the villain goes, story-wise, you're going to have a good setup. And I mean, there's a reason Brainiac's been around for a long time too. So I think it's just, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is that if it was me, I would have J.J. Abrams back in the picture, and I would go the 2008. It's funny you brought up Edward Norton. I would bring up the 2008 Edward Norton movie. Like, I wouldn't do an origin again, because everybody knows, you know, Superman's you know, everybody knows it. And I would just, you know, just pick up, like Spider-Man Homecoming almost too, like just pick up, you know, he's already Superman, he's already Clark Kent, he's in Metropolis, like boom, you know, that's, I mean, just spitballing, that's what I would do.
For me, to have gone over this previously, I didn't come prepared with a pick if I were to recast Superman. I don't think I would. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, and I don't necessarily think I would go with with a relative unknown, it will probably be somebody that's mostly known from like TV or something like that. Like if I like Channing Tatum as an actor and I thought he was a capable actor, I probably would pick him because he just looks like he would fill out the Superman suit well. But I just don't like him as an actor, so I'm not gonna pick him.
See, and it's funny you actually brought up him because, to be honest, I would cast him in a superhero movie, but I would have him as a villain. So that's kind of like the same thing the same thing Spider-Man Homecoming did, like getting like big list Michael Keaton, like, oh shit, big shit, Michael Keaton is going to be in this Spider-Man movie opposite this, Tom Holland, young kid actor, to kind of bring some eyes into it from like people who aren't superhero movie fans, be like, oh, Channing Tatum's going to be in a superhero movie.
Right.
And now that you're looking at it, I would put him as Metallo.
Yeah. He would, yeah.
I
can see, and it's funny that you bring up Metallo because I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I'm not recasting Henry Cavill. Now, what I would do, I wouldn't go back and only thing I would go back and change is I would give him a sequel before jumping off into Batman v Superman and Justice League. That would be the only thing I would actually go back and change. Now, whether or not, now if we going just starting from Justice League moving forward, if I'm making either way in the Man of Steel sequel before Batman v Superman and Justice League, or the Man of Steel sequel after Justice League, I'm using Metallo as a villain. Now,
nice.
Either way, like I said, it's funny that you said that. Either way, the reason why I would use Metallo as a villain is because it works at either time frame in between the in the cinematic universe timeline. If it's after,
I just want to, I just want to confirm. So what you would do is you would do like an in between cool. Is that the word? You would do something after Man of Steel, but before Batman v Superman. Like, would you put something in a timeline? I'm sorry. I'll get confused.
No. For right now is going to be moving forward. But if I were to go back and change something, the Man of Steel sequel would happen before Batman v Superman. Like, if we can go back in time, push Batman v Superman forward a couple of more years, I would put Man of Steel 2, or just call it Superman. I would put Superman in 2015, maybe 2016. But as of standing right now, this Man of Steel sequel is happening after Justice League.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to go back. It gets too confusing when you're talking about, what I would go back and change.
Timelines. Yeah. Okay.
Because in general, what I would go back and change would be that, like I said, like I've always said, Man of Steel should have got a sequel before they did all this other shit.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's what I meant, going back and placing it there. But either way, if I was to go back and change everything or just place it after Justice League, it still works, because if I'm giving Man of Steel a sequel before all this other Justice League shit, you can still have Metallo be the villain, because the backstory that I would give would be, hey, this is a person that got caught up in this giant, he was a casualty, lost his legs. Now you can still use Lex because Lex is always going to be around. He's obsessed with Superman. And so he can see, and again, I thought Scoot McNairy in Batman v Superman was gonna be Metallo, and I thought that was a great characterization for Metallo. You have this one person that worked in the Wayne Enterprises building that was speaking out. He was vocal. Hey, this happened to me. Why this and that. Whatever. You can still have Lex pull him to the side and be like, what if I can give you the ability to walk again? But even more so, what if I can give you the ability to get revenge on what happened to you?
Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah.
I like those type of stories when it comes to villains. Not only because for motivation, but it makes it a personal thing against the hero, and it's something personal. Age of Ultron said it best. We always create the thing that we dread.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna have collateral damage fighting another person from your fucking home planet, destroying buildings and destroying 3/4 of cities and shit like that. But you would never think that one of those people who actually survived but's crippled would actually have the willpower to do whatever it took to get revenge
or
on
the resources.
you. Right,
Yeah.
or the resources to do whatever it took to get revenge on you.
For sure.
So I would use Metallo. I remember Metallo from the cartoon series. I just think he's an interesting villain, and you can play around with that backstory and his motivations. I mean, because that's his backstory in the comics, from what I remember. It was a guy that got fucking crippled from some shit that Superman did, and
sure. I can't remember. Like, he's had several ones.
There have been several people who've been Metallo.
Yeah, I know the one from the animated series was pretty cool. He was kind of like a really good criminal and a really good thief, and I think he was diagnosed with something. And he was diagnosed with like an illness and stuff like that, and then it was Lex that came in and was like, well, look, I can completely heal you. So it's kind of like one of those, you get what you sign up for, but like, like Deadpool is like, well, we made you like this superhuman, but he goes bad instead of where Deadpool would go good, kind of like a Weapon X kind of thing, like, hey, we'll sign up for this program. Because then I remember that whole thing, like Metallo was like, he couldn't taste, and he couldn't, he basically
lost
smell.
all semblance of his humanity.
Yeah. So then that kind of like drove him crazy.
Yeah.
And then the last comic book that like really spotlighted Metallo was Superman Secret Origin. And it was written by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and they actually kind of put a little bit more personal backstory into Metallo. And I'm having some mad fandom. People are going to get mad, but I can't even remember his name, like his full name. But basically, he was an army general right under Lois's father. And he was like, that basically Lois's father was like in the army, was head steering this whole thing against like Superman. Like, he's an alien, he can't be trusted, and what's he doing here? And we need to know all this stuff. Yeah. Kind of like what a Thunderbolt Ross would be like with the Hulk.
Yeah.
It was kind of like their version of that. And then, Metallo was like kind of he was basically like, what's his name? Like Glenn Talbot, basically. It was kind of like, it was basically that. Like, he was under, Sam Lane, and he was always just an asshole to Lois and everything, but he always wanted to date her and stuff. And he got basically some shrapnel, like he got, caught in an explosion that had to deal with Superman. And Lex was the one that came in again, because it always is.
Right.
Just Lex is like, hey, man, I can make you this. I can make you unstoppable. I can even, you want Superman, I can give him to you personally, kind of thing. And that's kind of how Metallo was born. So either way, those two spitballed ideas, I mean, they make for an entertaining story, which I think is what you need in the DC universe at this point.
You need something that's entertaining through and through.
Yeah.
No matter how you get there. Again, I wouldn't recast Henry Cavill. I would give him more to do. With a story like Metallo, you give him, you make it personal. You make the through line, you make it personal. I mean, like I said, even if you're placing it after Justice League, he can still be somebody that gets hurt. You can make him after Justice League. You can make him foreign, or you can do whatever to tie him into the destruction that they caused in that Russian city, or when Steppenwolf grabbed one of the mother boxes or something like that. Like, you can, or hell, you can make him fucking the child of one of the people that Steppenwolf killed, and it's and it's like, well, Superman came back. Where were you to save my dad? And it was like, it's complicated. I wasn't really alive at the time to stop him. And then you can turn Metallo into a Justice League villain if you want it. But if we're talking strictly Man of Steel, I would just tie him in that type of way.
Exactly. No,
but
I think that's
I wouldn't
perfect.
recast Henry Cavill though. I wouldn't. I would just give him. I like him. I would just give him more to do because I think that's what he needs. But if he actually is out, I mean, you got anything more on what you would do? Because I know you say you wouldn't recast him. And whatever
I wouldn't
like
recast. I would give the sort of like Superman does have a rogues gallery, believe it or not. You know, a lot of people just think, oh man, it's Lex, and then of course, you know, everybody goes to the popular Doomsday. The only guy who's killed him. I mean, there's Brainiac, there's Metallo. I think Parasite is another good one. I think there just needs to be people, and like I said, kind of what you were saying, the same thing with Metallo, because Parasite, in that Secret Origin book by Johns and Gary Frank, that was another one. Like, basically, you know, Parasite or whatever his alter ego is, I can't remember his name, man. I feel like such a shitty fan right now. But basically what he did is he was a janitor for LexCorp, this just fat janitor guy, just this overall loser, like all the time. Yeah. And he basically he caught a donut that actually had some radioactive material like on it, and he took a bite and like he choked on it, and then from the inside it turned him into Parasite. So it kind of made a good play because like Parasite, like his sort of abilities is he drains all your energy, be like feeding, you know, like the more energy that you give. So that was the thing, is he was, you know, a very, you know, gluttonous guy before. Well, now he needs it to survive. So like he's, you know, doing it. So I mean, that's another thing, you know, you just need something that's going to be entertaining. And I think having an entertaining villain and bringing some of those C and D level characters to prominence, you know, you really are doing it the Marvel way. I mean, it's not considered the Marvel way. It's just considered the right way. You know, it's taking some of these unknown characters and just putting them in a more, like, spotlighting them, because I mean they've lasted this long, so they are entertaining. You know, to the regular comic world, they're just. It's right now it's untapped potential that the studio execs have, because I know people will go crazy over, you know, Parasite or Metallo, because I mean they're going crazy over a guy like Vulture. I mean, like those guys are, you know, neck to neck as far as like popularity, like, you know, adversary wise. And I don't know, it really sucks because like just to me, like the way I always picture Superman, I do like the John Byrne era. Like I do like keeping his parents alive. I like that he has a moral compass like that. That also does something for me. You know, just because everybody's all like, Batman is like the super popular one, but Batman doesn't have his parents here. So like as a polar opposite, having Superman's parents, like for him to be like, that's one of the things I enjoyed about Smallville, is like, you know, just because he's Superman doesn't mean he's going to have all the answers to everything, you know? So for him to have like a moral compass or someone that he can go talk to, and someone that they can give him some clear advice, like those are some important, you know, side characters that need to be spotlighted too. And even then, like, I mean, and I keep comparing it to Marvel just because, you know, they're so successful. I mean, to me, Lex in the comics, or Lex the Lex that needs to be put on film, is sort of like a version of Loki. I mean, Lex has gone in comics. He's been a hero. He's an alternate, you know, Superman, and like all this. Like, I just think he's like the Loki to Superman's Thor. Like they're always going to be intertwined together. So like they don't necessarily have to be like rivals, because, you know, it's just going to be hard to make. I think it's just so hard to make Lex relatable because he's a billionaire tycoon, you know. But to get to really know who it is, like, and who Lex is and what he does, you know, you're going to have to try to explore his mind better. But that's just what I would do. And just to say, visually, I'm a big fan of like the bright stuff. So the Man of Steel costume, while I do think it looks cool, I think it's a little too dark. I think, you know, the Superman costume needs to pop like a lot of, you know, like the Spider-Man Homecoming costume pops. Like, I think it just needs to be brighter. I think it just needs to be that symbol. It's crazy. Shazam's got a brighter costume than Superman in the DC cinematic universe. It's a trip. Like, I'm just like, what the crap? Like, that's, you know. whatever.
I agree. I think the most important thing needs to be that it has to be an entertaining story, and people want a optimistic Superman. People want a Superman that, I don't want to say, when I say dark, I don't just mean like the story or anything like that, because you can go dark with Superman. You can go dark with any happy-go-lucky character if it fits the story. Everybody has downs in their life. Even the most happiest people have downs in their life. There's that classic joke about Rigoletti, the clown, or something like that. And a guy goes to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist suggests him to go to Rigoletti the clown. And he's like, I am Rigoletti.
Oh, yeah.
Like, happy people have down moments. So it's okay to go dark with any character. I think with Superman, though, it just seemed so... It just wasn't optimistic enough. Like
no, it wasn't.
For him to be a symbol of hope, you didn't really have that much hope in those. You didn't really get the sense of that much hope in those movies.
Well, it really sucks. I will say the symbol of the only times I got that very Superman symbol of hope was honestly at the very end of the Justice League movie. That's the only time that I got that, because he was coming in, he was like, very proud in the, that Superman talk, and he was joking, and then like, just that to me, like, honestly, the best we've got of Henry Cavill's Superman was the last like 20 minutes of Justice League.
Which is sad.
Which is sad. Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, and honestly, again, it's not his fault.
Yeah, like, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. If that dude can deliver 20 minutes of good Superman at the end of Justice League, imagine if he had like a legit, great, entertaining story to kind of just go off of. Like, we don't need something that's gonna, be a tour de force, or you don't need some Oscar type, like, man, this thing is, something about like, you don't need that Elmo meme looking at a nuclear bomb. Like, right. You just exactly. Need something to be like, man, that was really entertaining. It was a little comedic at times. The drama was there, and it made me care. And I think that's just another thing is Superman he's got that really sucky God complex. Like, he's so powerful and like almost omnipotent that it's like, well, damn, how can you relate to that?
Right.
But it's happened a couple of times. Like, there's some really good books. Like, if anyone's like listening or something, there's some good books, that you can go and look at, or just look up top 10 Superman books, and they'll have a whole list of, just some books that when you're reading them, you're gonna be like, man, this is what they kind of should use as like the blueprint for the next movie. Like something that's making Clark relatable. I mean, Smallville did it, because I mean, even though Smallville went on for 10 seasons, man, those first 3 seasons were like really, really success. They got it. Like, the people who were making it at the time, like, everybody was watching Smallville like those first 3 seasons. But when it kind of went a little, hokey and stuff like that, and shit started happening, like, shows should only go like 6 seasons, max. But I don't know how Smallville went 10. But it's possible. The thing is, you can make Superman relatable. You just have to, find that good story and find an entertaining story to do it. But I think the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I hope we find out what's going on. And again, if Marvel wants to fucking pick this guy up and cast him as Betsy Braddock's brother, I'm down.
Right.
I'm down, because that'd be amazing. Like, because it makes too much sense that we'd have our own superhero, Captain America, and nobody else would try to, like, the Red Skull and Hydra spent decades trying to recreate the super soldier serum. You mean to tell me nobody else tried that shit?
Right.
Somebody had to have been close to the shit to do it. Mm-hmm. And shit, fuck it. Make a Captain Britain movie.
Yeah. Well, these days, I mean, shit, Marvel can, make, fucking Howard the Duck movie and guaranteed it'd probably make money.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably the most random thing. I mean, like, right now, everything they're touching is just turning to gold, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time if you're like really, really pro Marvel. Like, I don't know how that's possible because I like, again, all comic book characters and stuff that's really been like near and dear to childhood. But
Right.
if you're a really, really pro Marvel fan, then this is a good time to be alive because we're getting really good stuff.
We are.
Even some of the bad stuff is still good stuff. So I just think DC's just, they're kind of hurting right now because that competition's really like lingering. But I think where the only thing that I think they're failing on, as far as the DC cinematic universe is, they really just need to do what the comics do. And I don't mean like take stories from the actual comics. What I mean is like, and Marvel and DC have been, they've been copying each other for years.
Yeah.
Years. So it's like, this isn't like something new, that people will be like, well, they're just going to copy Marvel. It's like, so what if they copy Marvel? If Marvel's doing something good, then why shouldn't DC do it?
Right.
Or the same thing, back with, DC's animation department and Marvel's animation department. Like, you're not seeing, those directed DVD or, whatever DC animated movies are, hell, better than some of the live stuff.
Yeah.
And Marvel's, Marvel's in a chokehold with Disney because they're just giving us really kiddie stuff. Nothing that's really cool. So, I mean, it's just, they've always kind of like done some other version, of their characters, but they've still lasted and they're still entertaining. Marvel has Doctor Strange, DC has Doctor Fate, Marvel has Hawkeye, DC has Green Arrow, like DC has Superman, Marvel has Captain America or Spider-Man, whoever your flagship guy is, I mean, there's always, there's the people that are in the same kind of department. So it's just, why not just take some of those ideas or do that? So who knows? Like, but you gonna have Joss Whedon on the market, but you gonna make him do a Batgirl movie and not a Superman movie.
Yeah, remember, he's not even doing it. Look, right. Honestly, I was gonna come back and say later that I know a lot of people will probably disagree because they're sick of the fucking boob jokes that Joss Whedon puts in his movies. But I would have Joss Whedon do the fucking Superman movie.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Joss Whedon, he's got a good track record. He's got a great track record. Like I didn't like Age of Ultron that much. I mean, well, like compared to now, looking back now, Age of Ultron was good, but it definitely wasn't the best out of like some of these that have been coming around. But still, Joss Whedon is the man that brought the Avengers together in the first place.
Right. So
no matter what, and nobody's gonna take that away from him because that was an amazing movie. Still is an amazing movie.
And he made it work.
Yes, because that was like the one thing everybody was scared of. Like, man, how can you take these four heroes and make a group movie like that? So that's he did.
I would give him the Superman movie, and it's funny. He's not doing the Batgirl movie anymore.
Oh, okay. So I'm dated on news then at that point.
Yeah, he's not doing the Batgirl movie at all. I think they're trying to get. I think it may have had, or at least from fucking feedback on Twitter, at least I know a lot of people were happy because again they didn't like the boob joke, Flash falling Diana's titties in Justice League, which is understandable. Josh need to cut that shit out, but I think because they had one in Age of Ultron, I think more so this came after, like, I know his ex-wife accused him of some shit or something like that. And
yeah, man.
I don't know whether it was where it was found true or not. I don't know if it's still like allegations or what. But something happened, and then like right after it was like, yeah, we're not going forward with Josh in the Batgirl movie. We're gonna have some other chick direct it, and so we're looking for writers or some shit like that. Yeah, but
honestly, like at this point in time, just to not go like, political or social, but if you got a superhero movie, like, you might as well just have a woman, just direct that shit and write that shit, because Wonder Woman, that's DC's crowning achievement, like, currently.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, that was a movie on a female superhero with the female in the lead and a female director and a female. So why don't you just, the way that things have been shaping up lately politically, it's like, man, just don't have a guy direct. It's kind of like the same thing with comics. Like now a lot more women are writing female characters in comics, because nobody wants to go back to the 90s where you know uh Rob Liefeld is
Oh,
drawing,
Jesus Christ.
or Jim
People
Lee is
without fucking
drawing like,
feet.
yeah, well, not even that. Like I was gonna say Jim Lee, or like a lot of those '90s artists like that, went to Image or whatever, but like over sexualizing, the
Yeah.
women, like like man, like it's
No, I
like,
get
all
what you
right,
mean.
well,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna touch a
so
topic with a 10-foot pole, but
right,
if you're gonna do it, make sure you get somebody competent. All I say is that you get somebody competent enough to do it.
right,
That's all I
yeah,
ask. That,
but
like, don't just do it just to do it. Get somebody that you think, hey, if I'm gonna crowdsource this shit with all men or all women, you guys better fucking show me what you can do.
yeah,
And
exactly,
it needs to have a clear vision, and you gotta bring it. Like, you gotta wow me with some fucking ideas. Like, don't come to me with a fucking Blade movie and try to make another Blade movie like the Wesley Snipes movies. No,
mm-hmm.
if I'm going to Marvel and I'm pitching a Blade film, I'm pitching a straight up horror movie first with some action in it. Why not?
Yeah,
I think Marvel is doing a really, really good job with genre movies inside of their cinematic universe.
mm-hmm.
And the one thing now, what I thought Doctor Strange was going to be, because they hired Scott Derrickson, I thought Doctor Strange was going to have way more horror elements. It didn't.
Yeah.
Marvel could stand to do a straight up horror movie, in my opinion. They just need to find a character that is right for.
I think Blade would be the good pick.
Blade would be absolutely perfect to do a
Mm-hmm.
straight up like horror action movie. Not action
Yeah,
horror action.
yeah. Because
Like,
it would show another side, and honestly, like the way that Marvel's been doing things, they're getting other villains or just other characters for like that wouldn't normally be a villain. But I mean, let's technically now. I'm okay. I'm going to Morbius like as the
yeah.
villain. I'm going to Morbius, and I know Morbius is a Spider-Man villain, but
And I guess
there's a
he's an
lot of other,
anti-hero, or he's been one, but
for
villain for
sure.
this argument.
But I know that in some recent comics he's been opposite Blade. In
Mm-hmm.
some of the Blade comics, I know they're not extremely popular, but I know Morbius comics they're really popular. But again, you could take Morbius, even though he's a Spider-Man villain, and you can make him the villain in a Blade movie. I mean, it makes sense. Like, who
Mm-hmm.
else is going to be a villain to Blade, who is a vampire eccentric character? Like, it
Yeah.
just
And
it's the obvious choice.
I'm glad you actually brought that up, because I always like to pull from childhood for inspiration when it comes to talking about movies or coming up with ideas. And if
Yeah.
I were to do a horror movie centered around Blade, let's not forget, again, another animated series that I grew up on and I love dearly. I had the flip head of it. Spider-Man. I had the Peter Parker flip head where you flip it and it was a Spider-Man mask.
Mm.
In the episode with Morbius, Blade had a cameo.
Yep. There you go.
And it was about Blade hunting Morbius,
Yeah.
because you have more. I think it was like a 2 or 3 part mini series in the season. But Morbius got his powers, and he was like, didn't know what was going on, feeding on people randomly, and you got Blade coming in like, look, you got a vampire problem. I'm here to solve it. I don't care if you in my way or not. I'm gonna go through you.
Yeah, and that would be good, because that could honestly make the situation relatable. I mean, you could
Mm-hmm.
have something as far as like, Morbius. You could make it a Morbius eccentric story, and Blade's your hero, but he's a confused hero because he's
Right.
like, man, I need to destroy this dude. But then again, Morbius is like, dude, I can't help it. Like,
Right.
this is who I am.
It's
So
relatable
could
because Blade is going through or went through the same thing.
For sure. Yeah. So already right there, you've kind of, again, you've spitballed just another franchise right there,
Mm-hmm.
or resurrecting a franchise. So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
But
It's
talking
there.
about some more DC news real quick before you wrap up. What do you think
Sure.
about this Joaquin Phoenix shit with the Joker? Like, we've already got set videos and
Oh.
pictures and shit like that. What do you think? I'm not feeling it.
Mm, um, I mean,
I know it's
it's
photos
tough to
and it's set
say.
videos, and I'm going strictly off looks. Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing. The hashtag
Yeah.
not my Jack Napier.
Uh, it's difficult to tell. Like I saw some of those photos earlier this morning. Um, I I think it's a. Whew,
Obviously, it's an origin
I
story, so
yeah.
I'm
I
not
mean, it's gonna
counting.
be an origin story.
Yeah,
So I
I'm not
mean,
looking at it. I'm not saying I don't like it because he doesn't have the the white face and the green hair and the red lips. No, I'm just not liking how he's looking. The set videos, he's looking extra flamboyant. I'm not getting Joker vibes from him. Some people said that they
yeah,
loved the way that he was laughing in the video and how he was acting in the video. I didn't. I wasn't getting Joker vibes from him. So I'm not really feeling it, but I'm strictly basing this solely off looks. The photos, the set videos. I don't know how any of this shit is going to be edited. I don't know how he's going to turn out in the film, but I'm just not feeling it.
yeah. I mean, while I would prefer like seeing him like dressed up, like I really, I'm kind of getting the feeling that this whole movie is going to be him without the makeup,
That would be so
and it's just
terrible.
gonna, yeah, and it's just gonna be like, well, why are you gonna make a Joker movie if he's not gonna be in makeup, for at
Yeah,
least an hour of the movie? If he's gonna be in makeup for just the last 30 minutes like that, nobody's gonna like that.
right.
I mean, unless they have a really stellar script, but I don't know, man. I really couldn't tell. I mean, I know he's got the long hair. I'm not sure how they're going to set it up. Like, and I've gotten no confirmation or I haven't seen anything that says that Batman would be in this movie or if it's something separate. So it's like,
But it's
okay,
weird
well,
because the Waynes are in it. Originally, Alec
yeah.
Baldwin was supposed to. What was rumored, he ended up coming out and saying he wasn't. So I don't know why. Like recent headlines that I've seen have said that this actor is replacing Alec Baldwin. But at one point, a
Mm,
couple of months ago, it was like Alec Baldwin is going to be playing Thomas Wayne, and essentially what headlines were saying was that it was going to be Alec Baldwin doing a Donald Trump impersonation playing Thomas Wayne, because that's what the descriptions for Thomas Wayne was, or what Alec
Lord.
Baldwin was going to be playing. It was going to be some billionaire asshole, whatever like that. Alec Baldwin came
Hmm.
out and was like, I'm not going to be playing a caricature of Donald Trump in any movie. And so I don't know if that was like, look, I'm not in a Joker movie and I'm not playing, some Donald Trump character. But
Interesting.
whatever actor that they just cast as him, because now the full cast and information is out. Bradley Cooper is one of the producers on the fucking movie.
Hmm.
Yeah. Robert De Niro is in the movie. There were rumors that he would be playing the Joker's dad. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, no like character names or anything like that. But yeah, Zazie Beetz is in it. Robert De Niro, like all these people that that were rumored to have been in the movie, it's been confirmed now. But whatever actor that they cast as Thomas Wayne, all the headlines are so and so replaces Alec Baldwin, and I'm like, I was it ever confirmed that Alec was playing him?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I don't know, and he
interesting.
shot it down.
Hmm.
It's like, hey, I'm not playing some Donald Trump character.
Yeah, to me, it's just too early to tell, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is. It is.
I think I think Joaquin, like physically, just by looking at him, he does have the potential to be a cool, a good looking Joker.
Yeah,
But I think it's already established, and that's the thing is like I got a big question mark in my head as far as like what are they gonna do,
exactly.
like visually too, because that's really gonna matter. Because I know, like, I mean, a lot of people are just it's just really big. It's really important to people to do things visually now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know everybody was thinking like, the same thing happened for Heath Ledger. When he got
Mm-hmm.
cast, everybody was like doing photoshops or just they do his face white, and they kind of did the Jack Nicholson thing and
Mm-hmm.
the surgery type smile. But then you got the picture of him, with the real messy makeup, and people are like, "Oh shit," that's what we got. And then
Yeah.
that was the craze everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
for the next like 3 years. But the comics were kind of doing that as well. The comics were heading kind of heading that way with the whole Glasgow smile, like the
Yeah,
cutting
because
of
I
the
had I have
yeah.
the Brian Azzarello Joker book.
Oh yeah,
Um
that's a good book.
and it came out I think around the time that The Dark Knight did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the Glasgow smile in that, and that I mean that's the
Hmm.
cover of the fucking book. And so at the
Yeah.
time, it was like, oh well, they might be making Joker look more like they might be doing the story based it off the movie Joker, blah blah blah, this and that. I mean, hell, earlier today Marvel announced that Killmonger is getting a miniseries in December. Guess what it is? It's fucking Michael B. Jordan Killmonger. That's the design that they picked. Now, me personally, I low key don't really like when comics change to look more like the movies. I think it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But yeah, so I'm not really feeling what I'm liking from the Joker shit so far. That's just me though.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's too
Because
early to tell at this point.
yeah, it is. And the couple of people that have talked to me on Twitter about it at least are like, they might be doing Killing Joke, or they might be kind of using Killing Joke as a basis. And I was like, yeah, but he don't even look like the Joker from Killing Joke. Like, he doesn't even look like the. Now again, I'm using Jack Napier as the name for Joker. I think Joaquin's Joker is Charlie or some shit like that. But Jack Nicholson was Jack Napier. I'm using fucking Jack Napier as his name. Um, like I said, hashtag not my Jack Napier. Um, he doesn't even look like the Jack Napier in the fucking Killing Joke.
No, I don't think so. No,
So I mean, I need some Red Hood action, some novice Red Hood action,
yeah. No,
and
I agree.
like a failed stand. Well, we don't know if he's gonna be a failed stand-up comedian. We don't know shit about the movie besides the fact that he was walking around outside and he plucked some clown's nose,
Well,
rubber
I
nose.
guess at this point, that's all we got.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
I don't
way too
know.
early to tell. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing so far.
All
Yeah,
right.
but that's all that we got tonight. Guys, thanks for listening. Those who do, I know I've been saying this for so fucking long. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm gonna put the podcast up. I'm thinking I'm gonna do iTunes and Google Play. I just have to go back. I'm really, really lazy. I have to go back and kind of like re-edit them, add in some certain shit. I know there's one of the podcasts where I want to add some music into it because I reference it in the episode. And then I have to go about actually uploading them. And I don't really know what the process is, whether or not you got to upload one, get it approved, and then upload the rest of them. Whatever. I'll figure it out sooner or later. I'm just going to do a massive upload of like fucking 17 episodes and just plug the hell out of them. But yeah, this is another episode of the BoDcast, guys. I don't even know what number we're on. It's been so fucking long. This might be episode like 9 or some shit.
X. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And then I have another one that I'm going to be doing tomorrow that you guys should look out for as well. Probably won't get posted tomorrow. It'll probably get posted next week. But yeah, that's all we got for the Superman stuff that we branched out into talking about Marvel and some more DC shit. But for John, I'm Courtney. You guys take it easy and have a good night.
Later.
Peace.